Very good evening to one and all. It's pleasure to be present in front of you. Even if you are not physically present in front of my eyes, you may be present in the future, but you are present in my perception, in my mind, in my heart. All these things that I do, making streams and all that, or talking to audience in absentia, talking to myself, it's all for the sake of living. It's all for the sake of making something good so that I have the first benefit, I have the first advantage, and then maybe by chance others come to have some advantage, to have some benefits, to have some entertainment, or to some sort of positivity they perceive, they feel, and they imbibe. That will be the important thing for me. So I have already mentioned that the topic I'm going to speak is the topic that most of the people having affection, having love of education, love of merits, love of good behavior, good conducts, will appreciate. It's like this: the woes and joys of topping the merit list for many successive years. Uh, it feels so good even talking about this talk, even talking about the subject. Uh, Topping the merit list, no merit list. As you win a medal in the Olympics or at the Olympics, the whole world knows you, and you have a lifetime experience because there is no guarantee that in the coming Olympics also you will get a medal. And if you have won the gold medal, it's the crowning glory for a sports person, and that achievement is the lifetime achievement. You never forget the moments when you are awarded, when you are photographed in your position on the pedestal, and that is the joy. So if you get something because somebody gives you, because of pity, because of some sympathy, okay, that is in a situation which is not very delightful. You get because you deserve to be given, somebody helps you. But when you get something because of your hard work, because of your dedication, then that brings to you the real joy. And my idea has always been this, that we should not be mad after medals or after the top position in the merit list. We shouldn't be mad. We shouldn't be bad adopting unfair means, or bribing the examiners, or making use of the influence of the parents if they are high positioned, or making use of money if the parents have lots of money. Because money is a filthy thing, but this filthy thing is much, much capable of corrupting even the good people. Because you refuse to have some money as a bribe to help somebody in the exam or to award higher marks in the paper. But when you are offered much, much money that you think it's worth taking, you can have a house, you can buy a house, you can buy a car, you can go on a world tour and all that, then you get bought, and you don't have restraint on yourself. So many people, they refused bribe when it is of moderate amount or of no significance in terms of material gains and all that. But they sell themselves when the amount is increased, or the amount is 20 times beyond their imagination, expectation. So standing first in the class because of your merit, because of hard work, dedication, because of your perseverance, that joy is rare. And whatever class you belong to, they talk about economists and people, socialists and all that. They always divide people in this way or that way. Always divide. All human beings are human beings. All human beings are human beings. But then nature has made them different. Nature has given some human beings the height that is loved, the complexion of the skin that is loved, the mind, the brilliance of mind that is so productive and so useful to have a good life, respectful life. You can't do that. Even so far, no, science has developed so much, starting from the 16th century. We have read in the books that ancient science uh, we had, because we have in the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, the sciences were so developed, and those were the spiritual sciences. I mean, your power that you could do amazing things, or you could even perform miracles, that was because of your spiritual power, your sacrifices, your meditation. You draw your strength from the ultimate strength. And for that, you have to be pure and purer and purest, and yet purer. And that used to happen. But these days, we see this modern science, material science, that gives us technology, that gives us machines, that gives us even machines of the negative type, hydrogen bombs and atom bombs, and all kinds of. You have these missiles and all that. What are these? Modern science, and people are very happy about that. Countries compete against one another in terms of acquiring or amassing huge cache of weapons that are lethal and all that. I wanted to say that even modern science that started late in the 16th century and it has journeyed up to now, what has it done? It has given you planes, supersonic jets, and all that. It has given you skyscrapers. It has given you weapons. It has given you thrill in life, but it has robbed you also. It has taken away from you the satisfaction, the contentment, the peace, the quietude, the tranquility, the virginity of the forests and the green areas, the hills and the mountains, our oceans so much polluted, our seas so much polluted, our air is so much polluted. So air pollution, what you call water pollution, noise pollution, all that. So these are the negatives. But I am always interested in looking at things that are sustainable, that we develop also, but we don't harm our environment. We become better also, but not at the cost of others, not by pulling others back or harming others. Now I come to the main subject that I have chosen. That suppose a child getting admitted to class one at the age of 5 or 6, and then you study in a school where you have only one section or only one class. You don't have many sections of the same class, or maybe many sections of the same class, and you study well. Studying well is not a bad thing. No, people talk about that you are a bookworm, you study all the time. If you study, you write also, you think also. Study doesn't mean that you only cram the words that are in the book, or you make answers to the questions, or you get the ready-made answers from your teachers in tuition classes, or because you have hired them to help you at home and they dictate the answers to questions, and you remember those answers, or you get those answers by heart, and then you have the same questions by the same teachers. No, I merit, or give uh, I give importance to standing first in the class when exams are fair, when education that is imparted in the school or in the college, that education is good education by qualified people, people of character. And when I say character, I don't have any other connotation to that word. Character means you do your duty nicely. You may be an oversleeper, but when it comes to work, then you don't sleep. You sleep much more on the weekend days, but you do your duty. You don't harm others. You are non-violent. You help others as much as it is possible, and you always raise your possibility of helping others. That is what I mean by goodness. So when you stand first in the class, and then and you are sober, you are so nice, well behaved, you don't make noise, you don't roughen up the desk where you sit, you don't dirty the walls of the school. You look at the flowers that are in the school garden. You look at the plants. You tend them. You just enjoy looking at them, but you don't harm them. You don't pluck the flowers unless you are told to do that, or if it is essential for some offering, some puja or whatever. So you stand first. You have the joy, and the teachers who are good. And schools must have good teachers only. Anybody can't become a teacher, but these days anybody becomes a teacher. You just spend money and you become a teacher. And even in the teaching profession, you have reservations. And reservations in America and England, they have imposed these negative things on the developing countries. No reservations. Whoever excels in merit, whoever works hard, whoever has, you don't award for the beautiful handwriting to anyone whose handwriting is not beautiful because he has bribed you as a judge. You award someone who really deserves. 10 people, and yes, sometimes you have division 5-5. So let it be like that. That on the side you have 6-7 majority of the experts, and these experts have to be impartial. These experts shouldn't get divided in the name of caste and religion and community, as generally happens in the Southeastern countries, especially in India, reservations and all that. So, if you have stood first in the class, then you have gone through many, many woes or much grief or much sacrifice, while your friends went out to play on the eve of exam or even before exam. Means it's not that you don't play, you play half an hour every day, you play 1 hour every day, but you continue your study, and you take your study as your main work. You help your parents. I mean, you don't waste your time. You study 8 hours out of 24. 8 hours you sleep. 8 hours you mm, you spend going to school, coming back home from school, and having classes there. So 6-7 hours if you study, and if you study regularly, that is your work. You don't quarrel. You don't backbite. Your habits are good. I mean, you can't be a mechanical man. You may sometimes, but the moment you realize that you have done something wrong, you don't have to be told by others that you have done something wrong. If that happens, that is too far. You have to experience yourself. Your conscience is always your master, headmaster. Your conscience is always your parents. Your conscience tells you what you should do, what you should not do as your parents. And parents are not the ideal human beings. They also, in their childhood, in their youth, they might have gone wrong. So uh, ask yourself what has been done good and what has been done bad, and that way you live. So none of us can be perfect, but 90%, 95% good, we can. When you secure 100 marks out of 100 in mathematics, in physics and all that, not physics, mathematics generally, then you can have. So, oath, I have said in the title that it is your sacrifice. When it is time to study, you don't surrender to temptations, or you don't give any space to temptations. That let's go to have a party, let's go to attend this party, that party, this celebration, that celebration, this jamboree, that jamboree. No. And studying things in the books, not bad, because books have to be made good. It's not any book, as Francis Bacon said, that the books in the market are too many, so many varieties, but 80% of them, they are good for nothing. 5 to 10% the books are the books that have great things in them. And reading such books, collecting the ideas, imbibing the ideas, internalizing the principles of life, the motives of life, the attitudes that are positive in life, that is what is studying, that is what is reading. And these books have to be read and read over and over again. And that's why Bacon said that most of the books are to be tested and then set aside. Some of the books are there to be swallowed because you need, but you don't have interest in, and you don't have any classicness about these books. But there are certain books which have to be read time and over again. And these books are the books that are to be chewed, according to Francis Bacon. So when I refer to O's that a student goes through in order to stand first in the class, not by chance in one class, but from 1 to 10, from 1 to 11, from 1 to 12, or from 1 to up to master's level, graduate level, MSc, BSc, whatever. And you live a disciplined life. And a disciplined life is a life of restraint. A disciplined life is a life of self control. A disciplined life is a life of positivity, and that you have lived, and that way you have worked. So, while others enjoy, that is not enjoyment, but then seemingly that is enjoyment. They are playing cricket outside, they are laughing, they are backbiting, they are talking about, this is shakes that teachers have to be entertainers. Earlier, teachers were the taskmasters, not bad. If teachers gave tasks to students and were strict to mold the character, the nature, the motivation of the students, they were great taskmasters. And whatever time it is, such great taskmasters should be present in our society. But these days, 90% of the teachers, because schools and colleges private in the private sector, even, and the infection is, you can say, everywhere in the so-called prestigious institutions also, because media, so everything is connected to business. The whole world is run by the unscrupulous business people, the industrialists, the manufacturers, the traders, the profiteers, and they have new theories of education. That teachers have to be friends, parents have to be friends. Who says parents don't have to be friends? Teachers don't have to be friends. If you treat your students nicely, you are friendly to them. If parents speak nicely, if parents provide for everything or most of the things according to their income, to their wards, to their children, they are friends. But these days, friends means you, you as in our place in India and all that, that if the mother is called by the daughter or the son, "Yar mother, yar," then it becomes friendly. If the mother calls the daughter, not, for example, daughter's name is Eliza or Susanna or Maithili, "Yar, come here, yar." So informality. How much informality? There has to be a limit to that. Frankness, openness, friendliness. And the more friendly you become, the more distanced you happen from character. And I mean, character means that sometimes parents can't be like friends. "Oh, no, I don't want to cook now. I'm tired. So you cook." Or you never cook, you go and cook. Or this that you are free most of the times. I'm not free, so I have to be 50-50 in terms of having freedom. Good parents sacrifice themselves. They become parents after they want to be parents, or they need to be parents because their time is gone. They could do whatever through their education. They could get employment or self-employment, whatever business they could start, they started, and then you become. So if it is, see, friends, in the name of friends, they go to the restaurants, they go to the hotels, they go to places, and they fire at each other. They quarrel, they become noisy, and they call themselves friends. If they are friends, they won't ever quarrel. Sudama and Krishna, in the in the history, religious history of Hinduism, they were friends. Sudama and Krishna, they were friends. But in our society, in the present time, friends means that you go to the party, you spend money one day, other people in the attending your party by turn, they will be doing that. And the whole month you have that. Give and take, tit for tat, formalities. And you forget your duty towards your parents. The parents are left alone, even if they are suffering, even if they are not all right, and you are enjoying it with your friends. You say, what is the life? We have to enjoy. And parents also talk about their minor children having girlfriends or boyfriends. See, see what is happening. In America, they say that about 30 to 40% of the girls in the early stage of their teenage, they go for abortion, they have sexual activity. What is this? Is this a good thing? Is this a good life? Is this openness? Never, never. uh, Sexual relations have to be established. Sex is good, but when you have decided, okay, education is over, nothing over, so you can't set 20 or 18 or 25, but after you have finished education, during studentship, you can't get into all these. And if you get into all these, then you suppose you don't give priority to education, and you dilute the very meaning of studentship. They say that students' life, even in the ancient time, that is the time to gather, to collect, to acquire. And when you come to grahasti jivan, that means family life, and then you start, suppose that you marry, you have sexual relations with your wife or whatever. Even if you don't marry, you live with somebody friendly, and you beget a child or children, and you live together. And they say that during student days, you start working also. I see in places that people have not passed even SLC in class 12 examination, and they start working for pocket money to have girlfriends, to their expenditure. And girls also start working at the age of 16, 17 without finishing education. In Sanskrit, there is a saying that Sukharthina kuto vidya, Vidyarthina kuto sukham. So Vidyarthi means that you have to gather knowledge, you have to read books, you have to expand your horizon of thinking, you have to be a tolerant human being, you have to be a world citizen, you have to look at the world from this perspective that the whole world is ours. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Although nature has created varieties, you have lions also, the predators, and the prey also. So things that have been made in nature, created by nature, they will remain. Man can control, man can sensitize people not to be senseless in making praise, because every creature can be the prey to another higher creature, stronger creature. So there should be no predator and prey relationship. Relationship has to be as members of this planet or other planets, wherever creatures are, to share and to live in that sense of sharing, sense of helping, sense of cooperating, sense of giving compassion, taking compassion. That so these days you see that 100%, some 20, 25 years ago, if at the SLC level you got 70% marks, you were the best. But these days, I have seen in one of the years, there came a boy in St. Xavier's College, Kathmandu, and he had got 98 marks in English. And his name was Mrityunjay, that's a Hindu name, Mrityu, and something that uh, uh, you are over that, means you are not under death, you are beyond death. Death can't devour you. That's the meaning. It's not possible in earthly life. And he could not write. And English marks 98. 100% marks. 70% marks used to be the best marks some 30, 25 years ago. Now everybody 100% marks. You can't write your name in English. You can't have some simple arithmetic solution. And in mathematics, you have 90 marks. So it is all business, because schools are mushrooming. Every house has a school in Kathmandu. Every other house has a research institute in Kathmandu. I see that you have on the ground floor, you have Momo shop. Momo is an edible item, and Momo shop, so steam going up. On the first floor, you have ready-made shops. On the third floor, you have something else. And on the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh floor, you have Clinton International College and Research Center. And all the students admitted there, they are the sons and daughters of business people, criminals, and all. The brokers of politics and all. They go smoking, they come back smoking, they dance, they socialize, means the whole day socializing. And that is education. They talk about uh, films that have sex and violence in abundance, and that is education. Hence, I picked up this thread that Woes, if you are a Vidyarthi, if you are a student, you have to be disciplined. You have to live a life of discipline, life of restraint, a life of morality, to the extent that it is all right for everybody to live together. It's all right to make a good human society, and you don't quarrel, you don't steal things, you don't harm others. So some of these qualities, cardinal qualities that you have, and you make use of your qualities, and you stand first, and you become an engineer or a doctor or a farmer or a gardener. I don't say that you everybody has to be a doctor. No, everybody can't be. And these days, donation colleges, see, you have private medical colleges. People go from one place to another where cheap donations are accepted. They go there. They can't write the word biology, and then they become doctors and they sell kidneys. They don't happen to distinguish between malaria and what you call that influenza or tuberculosis and cancer. And this is the horrible situation in education, especially in the third world countries. And the irony is that the first world countries, the rich countries, they give donations. And they know that the help aids that they have given to a particular country, most of the aids have been taken up, devoured by the so-called politicians. They know who are the politicians, and the same politicians, time and over again, every successive elections, 4 5 parties, and politicians are so-called leaders. They are not the leaders. They are the cheats. And they are the smugglers. They are the criminals, and they come alternately to power. And these countries like America, Germany, France, whatever, and they know. And the so-called leaders, who are the cheats, smugglers, and dacoits and robbers, they enjoy their life. Their children, they roll in luxury, and the poor people remain poor. The middle class people, those who can't shout, those who believe in civility and all that. So this is the situation. Uh, the world is not developing at all in my way. What is the use of skyscrapers having? What is the use of having atom bombs, hydrogen bombs, all these tanks and rockets and missiles and all that, when you cannot love nature, when you can't maintain the balance in ecology, you can't even have proper treatment for this COVID-19 pandemic. Lakhs of people, hundreds of thousands of people have lost their lives. Even in a country like America, you have protests against the restrictions and all that. You can't do that. Then what is the use of atom bomb? Devote. Scientists have double responsibility. They shouldn't go researching for things that are dangerous to the survival of the world. Doctors have to make medicines, nice medicines that can cure. And then you have one disease unknown, another disease coming after 5 years, yet another, and you are not doing anything. And you say that world is developing, science is developing, nothing is developing. You may call me a cynic, call me, but I see that practically quality of life has gone down. Peace has been lost. Mental equilibrium has been lost. You have deadline. People in advertisements and all that, they say deadline job. What is the deadline job? Let a person work as speedily as he can, but fierce competition, cheating, companies, no, one company outsmarting the other, the employees of one company cheating the employees of others, and the others cheating, and these employees, when their turn comes to cheat and all. So it's a vicious circle. So I look to things that are somewhat positive, relatively positive, that we work as farmers, we work as gardeners, we work as vegetable sellers, we work as sweepers. Whatever work we have to do, because we can't have everybody would like to do this job or that job, but then it's not possible. We need all kinds of functionaries. We need sweepers also, we need pilots also, we need farmers also, and we need engineers also, doctors also. So let these functionaries come into their positions according to their merit, through labor, through hard work. So good people, when they work, when they achieve, then that is pleasure. And that pleasure is a lifetime pleasure, positive pleasure. So joys, standing on the highest level of the podium to receive the gold medal is an achievement. If no foul play has been done, and maybe your labor and your luck also has favored you, and as a result of your hard work and to some extent chance or hate and all that, and that is the joy. I, I have spoken all these things because I appreciate things achieved through hard work, through dedication, through sincerity, and I also appreciate and also rate the happiness that one gets out of the achievement. Very positive happiness, abiding happiness that is on merit. So joys and woes are often found. Students, I have seen, I myself used to stand first in classes, many classes, from 1 to 10, 1 to 11. Then I started not standing first because we have so many classes. And I believe that people should do their work according to time and place. We can't start doing things that is not the right time to start. You become parents when you are capable of parenting, or you are capable of making a family. You enjoy your picnic when your main task is over. You means all of us. If you are a politician, then if you are a politician by choice, then you see to it that before you eat, the people you work for, they have eaten. You take a back seat. You don't start taking privileges. And in our places, and yesterday's criminal becomes today's prime minister, and he has a fleet of cars, he has a number of security men, and he goes marauding people. When the fleet of cars start having their functions, you see that it is they only. Uh, and that doesn't have any sign of any positivity. So hats off to all those who suffer and suffer creative suffering. I don't call that undeserved suffering. If I have to study well, if I have to work hard in my garden, I have to work hard 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. And if that is suffering, okay, that is creative suffering. That is the suffering for life, suffering for life, suffering for sustaining life, suffering for making life beautiful. So hats off to the students or to all those who inspire others and who take inspirations from the predecessors, from the seniors, and you set examples, you set better examples, and the tradition goes on. So hats off to people who believe in non-violence. Hats off to people who believe in sincere work as much as I don't say that I'm the ideal or they are the ideal. Nobody's ideal. We are more or less the same, but we should always be on the march. We should always be on the positive side, better and better and better. So, joys, the deserving joy, the avoiding joys that you get out of your work, out of your labor, out of your dedication, and in having a dedicated life, in having a restrained life, in having a life of motivation, you have to lose many things. But these losses are not that much important. These losses are the losses because no loss, no gain. We have to lose something in order to gain. If you have to be an Olympian, you have to lose many things in matters of food, in matters of rest, sleep. Rather, you can't oversleep. You have to go to practice. You have to you have to do exercise. You have to remember God or remember the Almighty. If you believe in, if you don't believe in, just think that nature is God. Nature has given us everything, and we have to live with nature as if we are the family members of nature. We don't have to disturb nature. We don't have to harm the system of nature. And when you do that, then you are a model. You are model means you can inspire. People can look up to you. and you give so much of satisfaction. So when I see good students, good farmers, good vegetable sellers not cheating, you make profit. If you have bought and you are going to sell, then you will make a profit. You make a profit of 15%, 20%, 30%, but not 200%, not 100%. In Kathmandu, I see there are vegetable markets and the local shopkeepers from different localities. They go and they buy some, suppose a certain vegetable A for 30 rupees per kg. And when that vegetable is brought by that shopkeeper to his locality, to his shop, then he sells that vegetable at the rate of 70 rupees, 60 rupees. How bad it is. You take profit 15%, 20%. In a day, you take that. That is much. And if that happens, the poor people, the people who can't walk up to that place, they too will get vegetables. You see, in the markets, they don't sell vegetables at the price that they should sell. They let the vegetables go rotten, go decayed, go perished, but they don't. So tons of tomatoes, tons of green vegetables every day in a big market. All these are wasted, but these are not sold out to the needy consumers at a reasonable price. And this is the business tactic. This is the business trick. This is the business mode, they say, that let things get destroyed, get wasted, but don't allow these things to be sold at reasonable price. That if you bought at the rate of 35, and if it has not sold out, then sell it at 55, 45. But no, you sell it at 75, and if you don't have buyers to take that at that rate, then you just let it go rotten. So my appreciation for all those people who are on this side, positive side. I never claim to be very highly positive, but I have an appreciation. I have an attitude to appreciate whatever is good. An honest policeman has to be appreciated. A doctor who doesn't misguide the patient has to be appreciated. A teacher who doesn't take bribe and does his duty nicely is to be appreciated. A politician who really works for the people as much as he can should be appreciated. So when good students, good farmers, good teachers, good doctors, good politicians, good people at any social function or social as any type of social functionary, when they do something good and they are appreciated, they are praised, then and that becomes an incentive for them. If not material, spiritual incentive, and they become better. That should be trained in society, not the other way. The people who are the labor leaders, they never work, and they are the leaders because they are the shouters. People who should never be in politics, they become the politicians, prime ministers, ministers, and all that, and they are only vultures. They rob the people and they keep people in poverty and they enjoy life, but that is not enjoyment, that is wretchedness. But that is the enjoyment that these people uh, feel. So I congratulate you, the toppers in the merit list, if you top by your merit, by your dedication. And let the tradition go. Let this torch never be put out. Let this flame of humanity, let this flame of raising goodness, raising merit remain intact forever as long as this universe survives. All the listeners, uh, abstract or physical, whatever, I thank you for being my listeners. Even if there is no listener, thousands upon thousands of listeners I can see in front of my soul eyes. And thanks a lot. God bless us all. Bye bye.